All right. And we're on. Welcome.
ただいまです。
Welcome to the second stream on the Striving for Animation channel. We are working on Daini Genga, or second key in Japanese animation, and I will be working on cut 1, 4, and 6 from the last video we did on animation checks, and I will be implementing the checks into the cuts and cleaning up the keys and getting them ready for Doga. I'm going to start by finishing up this cut here. I just need to add in the shading information. I had already actually worked on this because I didn't know we were going to be streaming. Then I'll be working on cut 4, which is going to be pretty quick, and then on cut 6, which is going to take probably the rest of the time of the stream. If you guys have noticed any issues with technical stuff, let us know. It looks like chat's not.
Yeah, I think chat's not working.
Let me reload that really quick.
Let us know if the audio sounds okay, like the levels, if it's too quiet or too loud. Okay, good. So hopefully we'll just get the chat working and we can be on our merry way. If you guys have any questions, I can try to answer some stuff while Jared messes around with the widgets. Yeah, now it's Jared drawing, and I'll be doing like some other studio work, but also talking with the chat.
Oh, there we go. Looks like it populated.
Let's see if it catches up. Do we plan on covering post-production in the future? Post is in compositing. If so, then yeah, we'll be doing it in Doga or in movie like video format instead of live. So, because we're not professional composite artists, it's probably not the best thing to do in a live setting. So I'm actually meeting with a composite director at a couple of studios. I have 2 or 3 people that I should be meeting with, and I'll be asking them about how to do things, and then I'll be figuring it out, and we'll be making that into a video for you. Theo asks, what kind of people are you scouting for Discord? Mostly people that are hoping to get into animation, like actually serious about starting freelancer work.
Yeah.
So specifically people that are
animation.
Yeah. So people that are doing life drawing and trying to produce things that look like actual Genga or animation materials. Oh yeah, the chat's up. That's good.
All right,
Any tips in finding animators in a country where animation isn't a popular or known career? For me too, because I'm from Idaho originally, and nobody's really into anime over there, like in my general area. So I just stuck to online.
trying to find my tablet.
Uh-oh.
There it is. My computer's covered in recording equipment right now.
Now that you completed a stream, how do you rate your audience from 0 to 10?
I'd say
10 out of 10.
We actually have probably the least, most wholesome, I'll go with a more positive, most wholesome audience on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I was really shaking when I first started the stream. It's actually kind of fun once we get into it. It was fun talking to you guys. How does the NDA work in the animation studio? We see layout work posted from animators after a show airs. Does every studio allow this? He knows the answer, but asking for others. Yeah, generally you have to ask your production assistant that you're working with whether it's okay to post your layout work when it's done. And some people are like too spooked to actually ask, and so they never ask and they never post anything. But if you ask it, apparently like a pretty good percentage of production assistants will allow you to do it just after the show airs. How can we get on your Discord? Officially, what's the official way to get on
follow me
Discord?
on Twitter and just keep an eye out for the application opening up. We might reopen it pretty soon. But I think we're only going to be taking 2 people in this round. When I start on cut 6, Will, I'm gonna see if you can show me how to do that color layer restriction.
Oh, okay. I'll send you the template actually.
So I guess I can walk through this real quick. So I'm gonna hide my second key. I already did this. So I actually have an advantage here over when Will was drawing because Will's the SOCCON, so I can ask him questions. But yeah, this is the result of the SOCCON check. And my job was to basically clean up this cell right here, implement the corrections, and get to the layers. That's where I got to. I had to add another frame because it was just one frame that I was working with. So there's just her main position and then the breathing. So it'll be in between, going between those to make that into a smooth breathing animation. And then with the alarm clock, I had one neutral position from the corrections, and then I just had to do some shaking for when the alarm clock goes off. And it's animated on ones because the shaking is so fast. Like it's really hard to animate a vibration on 2s or something like an alarm clock. But it's okay because it's just 3 frames recycled. And right now I'm going to go back through and add in the shadow detail or shadow markup.
Do you get to keep materials like set day as a keepsake after production's done? Or is that most studios let you keep them, actually. And in case there's a sequel and we want to ask you to do it again, it's kind of like considered rude to give the set day back immediately. It's basically like saying, okay, I'm done with this. So yeah, you usually get to keep it like 99% of the time. I have a big drawer full of the stuff that I need to scan, so I can get rid of it because it takes up so much space. Please upload the video later. Yeah, we'll be uploading it after it's done. And actually the other one, it's in a playlist for live stream, so we'll add it in, this one in as well, as soon as that's done.
I think my colors are off.
They may be slightly different. Oh yeah, those are different than mine. That's okay. There's some variation in what colors people use. It's just as long as they're clear enough. Also, you're not supposed to shade in the normals.
The normals?
The light yellow that you're using. That's only for layout.
Ah. Just the shadows.
Yeah. Yo. It's Clip Studio EX. Also, you can name colors in the palette by right-clicking them and choosing Change Color Name. And then once you write it in, it pops up next to it.
The light source is actually coming from the window behind her, so...
Yep. Yeah, the pale yellow that we use for the regular, like normal cell lighting is only on layout, and that's to tell the difference between what's a cell and what's the background. Because if you look behind her, there's like some stuffed animals and stuff too. And if you don't fill that in, it's kind of difficult to tell which is which. How long will the stream go on? We're thinking maybe like another 5-ish hours.
Mm.
How long do you animate for per day? Usually about 12 hours. Personally. Flying panda. Wait. Really? Oh, and Road. Hello.
Yeah, marathon. I'm wondering where I got these colors from. These are weird. Might have got them from this. Ah, that's why the colors are weird. Okay.
You're in like a blending mode or something?
No, I was sampling them with the SockCon.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. After this, do you have another stream? Yeah, I'll probably be doing Key after that. Or after Jared's done with his cuts. I'd like to get at least one more cut done today. So we'll be sort of tag teaming off. I might hop out of the chat halfway through this stream, depending on how my other work is coming along. But I'll be back to stream more when Jared's done.
Skin, main, shadow. Shadow. And delete scissors. I forgot to clear my.
You think there would be a problem with an animator freelance and regulations? Actually, not really at all. Some people use a fake name for it, but actually a lot of Gainax animators too did lots of hentai in their free time. So it's pretty common. There's not really much of a stigma for it. Steve asks, were you ever bad at drawing?
I still think I am bad at drawing, but
Me too. So I'm tempted to say always. But yeah, I only started in my second year of high school, so I started real late, and I was never really confident with my drawing at all. So I'm actually trying to pull myself up in regards to that.
there we go. This looks better. I found an issue. Fix.
No, we were born as prodigy animators, meant to make $20 a cut. Yeah, we got that big dollar skill. Polyworld clock.
Yeah, I don't know what creature that is. I guess a mouse.
Yeah, I think I meant for it to be a mouse. Just like.
I'm looking at shadows within shadows.
I'd have to see the key. I don't remember using secondary layer shadows, like darker shadows there. Just all one color.
Just this blue.
Yeah. I mean, if you just check the normal key, you probably see. Or the correction. Because those shadows are probably normals.
Wait, this might not be correction.
Road sign, should I really get CSP instead of wasting my money on Steam wallets? I don't know, it's a tough choice. But I was wondering, Road, what do you animate on usually? Flash or? Like, I would recommend CSP because of the camera feature mostly. Like, if you want to do stick pans where the character's like flying through the air and background scrolling around, it's easy to do in Clip Studio, and it's also easy to create the materials that you need to hand in. Flash 8, oh, okay. I mean, it's really fast, so I mean, going from Flash to Clip Studio is probably super cumbersome dealing with the layers and selecting a bunch of stuff, so I can see why Flash would be good. Flash gang. This crashes. Yeah, that's true.
Spoiler alert.
Huh?
Nothing. I just had Sete from something I'm working on pop up.
Oh,
Okay. It'll be a little easier. Okay. I don't know what happened to that layer, so it's easier to just open up the other one. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure both Bahi and Wayland use Flash. Like, high key count people seem to be using Flash. Yeah, and Dyochimo as well, actually. I mean, I guess that's not even an actual, since Dyochimo is like the most obvious Flash. Because he built the plugins and stuff for it. Are you not tracing the key?
No,
like
I
you have
was.
to be
I just
tracing it.
I forgot to add this highlighted.
You're supposed to trace it off of the drawing.
I don't know how I missed it originally. I mean, it looks like I just
But, like,
made
you
up
don't
that
have
whole
the drawing.
section. Let's see.
You don't have the original drawing?
So what layer is it in? Under layout 80
Or you just
check.
can't find it in the layers?
Layout 80 check.
Should be any of those.
Under BG. Oh, there we go. I might just start over on this. I think when I originally did it, I didn't know what I was doing. It was like a month and a half
Sorry,
ago.
but I gotta stop you, bro. Unacceptable. Industry animators must never make mistakes ever. Yes. 100% correct.
Actually, it looks like I did trace the line.
Okay. If you can pick up
What
the
is it?
shadows from the actual drawing, though, because that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Might just start over because after watching your stream, or like participating in that last stream, I feel like I need to just redo this. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Only if you want to. I mean, I still have second key check for that too, so you can go either way.
I don't know. Looking at this, what do you think the state is?
Let's see. Can you zoom into 100% size? Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to tell. I'm not sure. You can go either way. The mistake was he was drawing parts while looking at the frame, but not actually tracing the frame. So like instead of putting his new drawing on top of the other one, he did it like a like copying from.
Yeah, I was copying it over here. I think I'm just gonna start over because I think I can do better on this. I think there's some sections on this that are kind of incomprehensible. So
okay, whatever's you're more comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna start over. Which
okay,
I'm fine doing. It's practice.
Yeah.
I think my alarm clock's fine.
Do you know anyone who's been blacklisted, Will? I know some people who couldn't get work for like a certain period of time, and then after that, actually some of them are really good animators too. Like they started out drawing just sticks, apparently. Like they ran out of time and just handed in an action layout as stick people. And then he couldn't get work for like a month or two. But then after that, he's like, okay, I'm sorry about drawing them sticks. I'll be careful next time. And he's out doing really great work for actually that exact same studio. So each background is for each object in the shot. Or is it for the background, midground, and foreground? For this shot, there's a couple of different like background, mid, and fore elements. But the background, by definition, is only that bottom layer that gets painted. Anything that's on top or sandwiched between other cells is a book. And that's just painted transparencies.
So you had the setting where you locked the color?
Yeah, I sent you the template in Discord, actually.
Oh.
You just have to read it into Clip Studio and you just have to drag and drop it. Normally you set it as the cell template when you make the project file, but otherwise you just import the material and drop it in manually. So if you go to Window, Material, and then like open that window, and I think you can just drag and drop directly into the material section after you download the template. Was he forgiven after he apologized? Yeah, they understood, but they just wanted to give him like a cool down period. You wouldn't have to sort of overwork yourself to the point that you can't fill in like the full body. Any idea why it's called a book? There's two explanations that I hear a lot. One is that when you have the book and all of the cells in there, you have to open up, like everything's put onto the peg bar for photography, like for analog composite. You open it up like a book. And then the other explanation is that it's sandwiched between all of the different frames, like a bookmark. Yeah, we're gonna save the live stream. It'll be up. We actually made a playlist for all the live streams, so we'll keep them.
So you'd say 150% is probably max, or just 100?
For how far to zoom in?
Mm-hmm.
Like for cleanup, right?
For this stage. Tiny Ginga.
Well, you saw my last stream. I ended up zooming in like 200% a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, like this shot, you notice that it zooms in onto the character. So it's actually going to require a little bit more detail than the average cut. So I would recommend maybe 200% to be accurate. Because you're at 100 right now.
This is actually 33%.
Oh, okay. Oh, I guess because the stream's a little bit behind. And it was 100%. But yeah, I do between 150 and 200. That. And just because it's a shot that zooms in onto her face.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like something with the entire character moving a lot, I would max it at 150 and try to draw it at 100 as much as possible. I know you said you started out on traditional, but how would you edit a picture after receiving correction? It's one of those things where you overlay it on a light box and eyeball it. You use a light board or a light box and then overlay the paper. And then basically while flipping back and forth and also tracing the lines, you trace it as accurately as possible. And what you do to check the consistency is you actually turn the light box off so you can't see the underlying drawing. And you put your face up close to the paper and flip it back and forth really quick like a flip book to check if the forms are consistent. Do either of you own old school traditional set?
Nope.
I don't. Do you?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, I've looked at them a couple times, but I try to keep myself from getting too much extra stuff in my house. It's kind of don't have a lot of space.
Is there a line width 4px?
I'm working at 3, but the lines look pretty thin, so it's probably a difference in pressure settings. But I basically drew at what I think would be an acceptable line width, so anything in that range is okay.
in at least in the digital animation pipeline, where the shadows are different colors just to help differentiate what object they or what part of the cell they belong to. So here we've got pink as hair, blue is kind of like clothing shadow, skin color is skin shadows, and then green kind of as miscellaneous, yellow as highlights. It's just to kind of help the Doga artist and the color artist know where all the shadows are supposed to go.
Also, if you look at some of the weird gaps and stuff around her hands, hard to tell if that's going to be the color of the sheets or the covers or the hair or skin.
Yeah, if you're like coloring this and you're zoomed into here, it's going to get real confusing unless you have that markup.
The animation is 30 seconds, I'm pretty sure. Almost exactly. How long do you take for each stage of the process? For cleaning up keys like this, 20 to 40 minutes is ideal. But on the last stream, I went way over the time. It was taking like an hour for each key, or an hour or more. But yeah, shoot for 20 to 40 for cleanup, I think. It's not an unreasonable number. But the most important thing is going to be doing an actual flip check to make sure that you're picking up the nuance of the corrections. Because otherwise the forms might end up really inaccurate.
With the amount of correction that was done on this cut, I can't even do a flip check.
There's no way to like register the frame that you're drawing in the light table.
By flip check, I thought you meant comparing it to the original drawing, right? Or you're saying like...
comparing it to what you're tracing.
Oh.
Comparing your drawing to what you're tracing. Like what I did
like
at the start of the frame. Like when I first cleaned up. So you would drag and drop the AD correction frame to the light table. And then you hit Alt 1, 2, 3 to sort of flip back and forth between your current frame and what you have in the light table.
Oh, yes. Okay, I get it now.
Thanks, Gino. We're doing sort of a mix of 3s and 2s, so between 8 and 12. And also I put in some 4s, which is whatever 24 divided by 4 is. That was 4 frames per second, right? Oh, 6, sorry. Whew. Very big brained. So if you hold Alt and then press 1, 2, and 3, you should be able to flip back and forth.
This window, right?
The bottom one, the bottom half of the light table. And just press and hold Alt, and then go back and forth between. Unless there's a shortcut that needs setting, I'll check for it. Yeah, that's it. You just move that out of the way. And between, there should be a number that you can press to show that other frame.
Oh. I know why it's not working. Oh wow, yeah.
Are you?
I got it.
Oh, you got it? Nice. Are you using the same audio or the same music as last time?
Yep.
Okay. I'll post a link.
Yeah, I can tell that the forms are denigrating a little bit, but it's. I'm also wondering if that's because the.
Yeah, what you want to watch out for is like the shape of the eyes, mostly. See how they're like more round on the key, but they end up looking kind of flattish on the trace. That's what the flip check is for, because it's really not obvious when you have both of them transparent and you're tracing over the lines. There's a link to the music. How do you guys organize the layers? It's just from first step to last. So the first step is on the very bottom. The last step is on the top. Just in order of how you do them. Average anime frames per second is like 8, but there's a lot of usage of holds, so it really depends. When it's moving, 8 or 12 is common. Yeah, that's accurate to say the environment is 24 frames per second. Because if there's camera pans and stuff, that's universally done at 24. And then the cells, the actual drawings, get changed on 2s, 3s, or 4s. Yeah, and occasionally once. 24 frames per second. Yeah, for people wondering about the folder structure, we're basically copying it from a official tutorial that Celsius made for Clip Studio, using, like, they commissioned an animation company to do all the way up to Dolga, I believe. And there's a 40-minute video if you search Clip Studio animation. And it's all basically modeled after that. But yeah, there's a couple studios that do the entire process up to Dolga, all within a single project file like we're doing with Clip Studio. The color palette for shadow markup varies per studio and actually per animator as well. It's just, you want to avoid it being too dark so that you can't see the lines well once it's printed out. That's the only thing to watch out for. Link to the 40-minute tutorial. Hold on a sec, I'll bring it up. There's the tutorial. It's actually in Japanese. There's English subtitles if you use the closed caption option.
Yeah, with complex hair scenes, it's really funny because I just drew the color of the shirt on top of the hair, thinking it was hair.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
wasn't able to tell until I did that flipping.
Right. Yeah, really fast Doga artists actually flip almost maybe like once every 5 strokes or something.
Wow.
And they sort of like, while they're flipped to the original key that they're tracing, they sort of look really closely at it and try to memorize them, and then retrace over the line while remembering or sort of visualizing those forms that they saw.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of hard to do digitally. It'd be nice. I should probably figure out a good shortcut to do for these flips. The alt, the keys isn't like ideal. Yeah, Doki Doki Drawing is great. They have like a really good veteran Sakkan doing the teaching there. Yeah, I've seen those videos, the Tonko House ones. I think he uses TV Paint, right? I know 11 has like a really good flipping function, apparently. Like it's really programmable. Which seems nice.
Yeah, you can use Clip Studio for cleanup for traditional. So where's our Clip Studio sponsorship?
Yeah.
I actually emailed them to ask if they did any sponsorships because we've been like shilling out their software on our channel. And then they like they sort of were interested, but then they're like, nah, we're not interested.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess we'll just continue getting you free sales. All I want is a I don't know what I want. Oh, free license or something, I don't know.
It'd be cool to have sponsorships for stuff that we would actually care about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like...
We got an offer to review somebody's tablet. And I was like, no, we're not a tech review channel. Oh, and we also got contacted by this company called Amiibo, or not Amiibo, Amino. And they wanted us to make like an animation for them. And I was like, I told them, you can't afford to pay us to make animation for you. And then she was like, well, you know, we offer $500 per episode. For like a 5-minute episode. And I was like, I did the math and I'm like, I think we would need at least $5,000 if we're using this production method.
Yeah, well, like if we did an entirely different way of making it, like something that's way easier to do, it would be totally feasible.
Yeah.
But it's just we don't have time for doing it.
Yeah, and it's also weird they want to do. They're trying to like make vertical videos a thing. I guess vertical animation.
Yeah, there's a push for doing that in Japan too, I heard.
Really? I mean, it would make sense for like, let's say maybe they make a vertical format gacha game or something. And you could have a vertical format cutscene or something at the beginning.
The thing for Japan is it's like 40 or 60% of people watch their anime on phones. So there's some kind of push to fund a bunch of shorts using the vertical format. But yeah.
Okay, I think this is making a lot more sense than before.
Yeah, it looks a lot better to me too. Like, I'm not even zoomed in, but it looks totally different.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some messiness. I'm hoping that's... I could probably turn this off at this point and look at the lines. Too much. I kind of want to compare.
Just do it at 4:3 aspect, but keep the good shit in the middle. Yeah. Rewatching old shows like 4:3, awesome looking, and a lot of stuff were done well. Furikuri looks really good in 4:3. What's that other show?
The Metal Alchemist was in 4:3.
Yeah. The original.
Yeah.
Alien 9, I think. Is it Alien 9 I'm thinking of? It has a really nice 4:3 layout.
Alright, time for the blue.
For Jarrett, have you ever heard of Dragalia Lost?
Yes, heard of it, but for some reason I'm picturing a JRPG in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know it. It says their animations are squeezed into vertical form for cutscenes.
Regalia Lost is a fake clone, isn't it? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or is that Nintendo game that came out on cell phone?
Ryan Raven wants to know, I want to animate using paper software best compiled frames. If you're going to color it, I'd recommend Paintman or OpenToons. And what you would do is scan it in, and then you do a aliasing trace to get like all of the whiteness of the paper to be transparent. And then it's a gacha game. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But yeah, to compile frames, I'd say OpenToons or Paintman. You could do it in CSP as well, but if you want to paint, it's a little bit more work. But yeah.
I know they have a way to, if it's just black lines, you can turn it into like pixel lines, but they don't have a thing where you can change colored lines into pixel lines.
Yeah, that's the main issue with Clip Studio.
They have this I think it's layer LT conversion of layer.
Like you could do it with
like...
it's a Nintendo game developed by Cygames.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think I actually downloaded it, and I think I did watch that cutscene that you're talking about.
He uses Flipbook, if anybody knows that. Yeah, Flipbook's really easy to use. I had it, but I don't have a stylus or anything. I haven't done anything real with it, but it's pretty simple.
So when I see these little things sticking off, I'm guessing I ignore it.
Which things are you talking about? Like,
there's like on the bed, there's a little spike. The streams. It'll take a sec for the stream.
Oh yeah, you could ignore that.
Okay.
Just round it off. Yeah, I think that's better. Just round it off, because if you can see in there that it's not
buckled there.
Yeah. How many softwares do you use in a full process? Like, bare minimum, you could get away with 2. And that would be Clip Studio and After Effects.
I don't really like editing in After Effects though.
Yeah. Ideally, you would want a video editor and a painting software like Paintman or OpenToons. In addition to that, that would save some time.
I can't wait until we get to take this into these cuts into After Effects and put anti-aliasing on. That's always like the coolest part.
Yeah.
Because it turns basically what looks like pixel sprites into something that resembles anime.
Yeah. We're gonna do the line filter thing too, so that'll be fun.
Oh, we're gonna make it like crunchy?
Like with a little bit of a pencil texture. So it should be kind of cool. Like I managed to fix the bugs that I was getting earlier. It looks better now.
I'm amazed that I missed this line the first time. Just in the last 2 months since the last time I did this, I've had like a crazy amount of work experience.
You've done a ton of work too.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm better than I was 2 months ago.
Yeah. Definitely a lot more experienced. That's for sure.
It makes me like look at things differently.
Let's see. Nicholas says, did you see the trailer for No More Heroes 3? The animation was insane. If all 3D looked like that, it would actually be watchable. Yeah, I liked the motion and also like all the monsters in the second half, but the first half, the faces seemed like stiff to me. Like, just personally. The trailer overall was just like really cool though. Maxi asks, how does your studio or co-workers think of the channel? They don't know about it actually. So we'll see if I get found out. Anti-aliasing is like, how would you describe anti-aliasing?
Maybe I can just show it real quick.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
a lot
just an
easier.
aliased brush versus an anti-aliased brush.
Yeah.
It's basically a type of smoothing.
Make it thicker than that. So that would be aliased. What's great about it is you can fill it relatively easy and it's gonna be pixel perfect filling. Whereas if you have an aliased line, aliased circle, it'll look like that. Which when you zoom out, it'll look smooth. Like relatively, it'll look like it's slightly smoother. Problem is when you go to fill it, you have gaps. And it doesn't blend. So what the anime industry's solution to this is, they draw everything in alias lines like this. And I'm just gonna use CSP's filter because it'll demonstrate it. You go smooth, and boom, it blends it all together. Makes it nice and clean when it's zoomed out. I do not use CSP's anti-aliasing, though it's bad. But you can see how it blends everything together, and then you kind of get a gradient between the colored areas and the lines.
You end up with like holes in the cell, basically. Tiny pixel-sized holes all over the place. Yeah, HitFilm, DaVinci, Resolve, like all these are ones that I really want to see like how they are, but I need to figure out what the official pipeline is in After Effects first, so then I can sort of reconstruct that with free software. Because if I don't know what the form that I'm looking for is, then I'll be kind of lost in the new software, not sure if I can do things or not.
Technically, you could draw everything in OpenTunes, which is free, and then take it into just a free video editor. But the problem is it's going to be doubtful that they're going to have the anti-alias filter that you need for the anime pipeline, because it's really,
or also other stuff like gradients. It's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
Because what's cool about using aliased cells, basically it's like pixel art. So you can use color keying to select only a certain color, and then say, for example, all of the blue with like this value, this number of blue, this specific blue, only blurs this amount of pixels. So you can automatically blur like all of the highlights inside of the eye, for example. So that's kind of helpful with the aliasing. Yeah, I'd like to try DaVinci after we get the After Effects composite done, and maybe like do a comparison afterwards. But that would be after we finish everything, I think.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see it compiled in different softwares with side by sides, because it does make a difference. See if we can get the same effect.
Yeah.
I just doubt we're gonna be able to beat or match After Effects with PSoft anti-aliasing.
I mean, we'd have to see, yeah. But like, yeah. Because we're gonna have the PSoft and then the custom line filter and everything. Yeah, and so it'd be interesting to see how far we can go with other things.
We can compare OLM and other anti-aliasing filters and stuff.
Like OLM to PSoft.
Yeah. OLM has a kind of
filter.
Blockier result from what I've tried.
Yeah, a lot of people recommend the PSoft one. We had the software video sort of recommending how to make anime by yourself on the cheap. So ultimately, if we could just get away with like one software that you pay for and the rest of it's free software, it'd be really cool. So the shading and light are done on one layer. For Doga, or the cleanup, what's actually painted, it's all done on one layer. But at this phase, we have different layers for every single color. And that's just to make it erasing and redrawing a lot easier.
Oh, there it is.
This is a breathing animation in Genome, so it's just like 2 keys with in-betweens to make it repeat.
For these shapes, I can just leave them red.
Which shapes?
The stuffed animals.
Yeah. Those will be color traced, so they won't have black lines. They'll have like something that's off black. The final. Use that a lot for like fluffy things or stuff that's colored lightly. You can use it for smears and stuff too, which is fun.
I think you can still purchase lifetime licenses for Adobe, but it's extremely expensive. If you're a student, you can get it for pretty cheap. Or if you have a friend who's a student, you can get it for pretty cheap. I've just accepted that I pay for Adobe as part of my life, That's just one of my bills.
I really hope Clip Studio doesn't keep their iPad, because iPad version is like paid per month, the subscription. So I really hope they don't start doing the PC version.
You know, well, somehow I got grandfathered into free updates. I had like, I spent $50 on this.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
So I got like one of the last physical copies of CSP that they were just clearancing out of a warehouse. And instead of installing it from the CD, I just used the key, and then the key got me grandfathered into 8.3 and all that good stuff. Or 1.9. 1.8 was the kind of big update where they added like the camera and the sound support and all that.
The circle on the cheeks is for blush, actually. So you fill it with a slightly different color and then blur it using the sort of color key filter that I was talking about earlier in composite. And so you get a sort of rosy cheeks effect of that.
Yeah, I can pull this up.
Sir Burb says hair jumps up, hair at the back jumps up.
When I'm flipping between. Oh yeah. This is what that kind of what that blush line does. OLM uses it in Pokemon. They'll have like a line right here, and then they'll apply the filter, and it makes the gradients. Which I guess I'll link that page for you guys.
Yeah, and you can do that color specifically too. So like if anybody in the stream seen Prison School, all of the face shading is just color separation lines, and they use a specific filter set for each character, depending on the character, like all of the different colors that they shade the face and all the different separations, and then it turns into those like weird shaded looking faces that sort of imitate the style from comics.
Between 1 and 2, we have 1, 2, 3. 17 in-betweens.
Is it still at 17? Like, I did remember I cut it down a little bit. It's still kind of a lot, right? I thought it was like 7. Because you reused the ones on the way back.
Oh yeah, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That sounds
okay.
Alright.
That's still a ton. It's probably way too much. Like, we could put it on like 4s or 6s. Get away with 5. But yeah, we might as well. And it's easy to do too. You can see how that looks. Also, it's good to practice because you have such a tiny range of... If you're not accurate with the in-betweens, it'll just look like she's vibrating dramatically in bed.
Well, she's breathing really slowly, so it's like... I guess I'll see what minimum in-betweens would be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's okay timing-wise as far as like how long it would take for one breath. And to have that in on 3s is totally fine. It's just whether you can in-between it clean enough.
3s or 4s?
Isn't it on 3s with like 4s at the extremes and then it stops on a 6 on the key? That's what the sheet said, I think.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starts at frame 6, 7, goes all the way to 52.
No, so it is all 3s. Okay, never mind. My bad. Oh, there's a 4 there. Okay.
The motion's not even going to be very big either, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a little...
If you can, try to move like as much of the actual sheets upward as well, like a line width or 2 up, because otherwise it'll be like one part of it will be moving and the rest of it will be vibrating. So you have to like start at maybe the shoulders with the widest range of motion, and then when you go away from that, everything grabs.
Oops. These in-between track labels are really nice.
Yeah. There was a key that you could push or input on the timeline actually that makes it an in-between label, but I forgot what it is. It was like the question mark or something. It makes it a little bit faster filling in a bunch of them. I forgot what it is.
Yeah, so
Also, did you notice that there's also reverse sheet track label? That's the gyakushito thing that we were talking about earlier.
Oh,
So you're reusing the same frames.
that's cool. Reverse tree. Ooh.
So if you use on the way back the reverse sheet track label, that'll be like the proper way to specify a reverse sheet software.
55.
An in-between label is basically a thing. It's a label that you can add to the timeline to say to the Doga artist, add an in-between frame here. But when you're at the Genga stage, you don't actually add the frame. You just add a label for it, and then the Doga artist will add it there for you. So it's basically a memo for the Doga artist. But it's also what the dots are on the timesheet.
You can even, like, if you just put a normal track label and you can put words in, you can leave notes. Let's see. I can remember how to get rid of a delete label. Okay.
Okay, so slash on the sheet. Oh, okay. If you hit slash on the timeline, you can add a in-between track label. I guess it's not working on my Japanese keyboard like it was on my old one.
So I mapped for me backslash to flip canvas.
Yeah, you can press plus on the animation layer as well. Studio Hero saying you can press plus on the animation layer as well to view the tags in full or add custom tags of your own.
Yeah.
So you actually have that expanded, don't you?
Yeah, I've got it expanded. And when it's
yeah,
expanded,
I use that for labeling like when dialogue starts and stuff.
Yeah, you can move around the track labels too when you have it expanded like that. Oh, that's 66. Okay.
Yeah, I know anybody looking for freelance studio, Hibari does everything within Clip Studio. So you'd have to remember all of this stuff. But other than that, a lot of places just ask you to give them a set of JPEGs and just the timesheet as a JPEG as well. But there's strengths to both of those. Like if you know all of Clip Studio, it's pretty convenient to do everything just inside it. Yes, one cut to go for me.
How long does it take to produce an anime episode?
Yeah, about 3 months is a good approximation, because there's a big variation. Sometimes it's like half a year, sometimes it's 3 weeks. I know a lot of Sunrise shows, by the time, if you measure the time between starting on layout and finishing the episode up to film, it's 3 or 2 weeks sometimes even, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
But yeah, 1 to 3 months is the most common, I think.
It's not going to be fun to in between. I think what's going to have to happen though is it's just going to be like I don't know, I feel like we could get away with some tricks for that.
You think you could what?
Get away with some tricks. Like, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, you could put it on 4s, no doubt, but otherwise it's just a little bit tedious, but it's fairly easy to do. It's just really easy menial work.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not fun, yeah.
I was only given a still frame for this correction, so now I'm on my own.
Yeah.
And my onion skin is making everything the same color, which I do not want. I'm gonna do half color. Nope. Weird how the light box has different options than the onion skin.
Yeah, you can change the color and stuff, which should be helpful, but I still haven't really gotten into it.
I'm just gonna have to do the light box instead of the onion skin because there's more options. Go click on that as my main key that I'm working on, and then I'll control click that. Assign to layer light box.
Rinka Shichito. Well, in Western animation, it takes about 8 to 11 months to produce an episode if the cartoon is animated in Korea, etc. And if it's hand-drawn. Okay, so that's... A lot of times, like, for the episode 1 and 2 of a new show, they'll take about that long as well for Japan. Bleh. Soonbuster says, Jarrett Gamba.
Alright. The strategy here is what Will said earlier, I guess. I'm gonna move the shoulder up first.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna act it out a little bit. I almost think it would be like moving back more than up.
Yeah.
Because your chest doesn't expand out, it expands like forward and back. too much.
I think you can get away with that without that much, especially because you have so many in-betweens. The rest is mostly the direction, how you deform it to make it sell. Imagine Jared laying on his bed pretending to be Emily.
Something that I am actually kind of... I'm guessing that's the bulge from stuffed animals. So, I need to see them. Okay.
Nicholas is asking, did you guys see the making of Dr. Stone? It's great. Yeah, I saw that. It's, yeah, really good. They show like all of the steps too. It's cool. Highly recommended. What is it that you mean by cleanups and stuff? Like digital cleanup or? I still have my work desk set up for traditional cleanup, so I hardly ever do it. Thankfully. Sometimes I'll do that thing where you're flipping or removing the sheet from peg holes, and one of the peg holes will tear, and you have to redraw the frame. Oh yeah, okay. True. Yeah, that's generally what Korean studios do for Japanese animation as well. Lots of outsourced cleanup work. So they physically ship the keys out, well, not on a ship, but they use flights for it. So they'll send it on the morning flight, and they get it on the evening flight 24 hours later. Or not 24, like 36 hours later. So Burbs a lot wants to know if you do studio work, or if there's anything you can disclose about what kind of work you're doing.
Do I do studio work? I'm doing some work for an indie studio right now called Studio Uraki. And then I might be doing some stuff for Studio Period. And if I get the Studio Period jobs, that'll be my first anime job.
How clean or rough should my layout be? I guess the easiest thing to say would be to check the layout video for the channel. There's a couple of examples, and also if you look on Sakugaboru for just rough layouts that other people have drawn, it's a good reference. But generally having shadows and highlights is one or two of the frames is desirable. He's wondering if I work directly on the studio or if I work at home. I do both. So I actually bring my laptop to work and then bring it home and then work more. many frames per 1 second? Usually 8 to 12.
It's morning in England. I guess it's morning
It's
here
animation.
too.
It's 6:30. Morning. Wait, so you've been up all night, or?
It's 3:28 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Woke up at 7 a.m. So it's not too bad.
Big day. Does anime use animation terms like animating on 1s, 2s, and 3s? Yeah, they just instead of 1s, 2s, and 3s, they call it koma. So 1 koma, 2 koma, 3 koma. And 2s and 3s are the most common, mostly 3s. Some US Central bros in the chat.
I'm wondering if I can just copy parts that aren't moving.
Yeah, but you wouldn't copy it on the key. You would specify that as gose.
That'd be a complicated gose.
Depends on how you cut it. You could do it well if you cut it off.
Get the
Like
front
there's
of the
two
head.
lumps, one for Emily and one for the pillows. If you cut it off there, for example, it's a good spot too. But I would shift and trace the face if you can.
Well, the face isn't moving. Other than the mouth.
Shouldn't you move it though? Or you can move the mouth. Because if the face doesn't move, you should gose it.
Okay.
We're using a pencil type brush for this because it's still one step before doga. So it's not the actual cleanup, it's the tie down of the key. And you use a textured brush for it. You don't have to, but
It makes
a
cleanup
lot
a
of
little
it,
easier, I think.
yeah. And you want to have like sort of the texture of the brush and sort of dynamic lines as much as possible. So
Which I'm terrible at.
having something with a little bit of variation key look a little bit more natural.
So I don't need that.
Also, yeah, not having the pixels mess with each other. That's true too, Maxi.
I think it's everything that's gonna
But yeah,
move.
I do know people that do even their layout 1 pixel with just black aliased brush.
I feel like that'd be so hard to
perfectly
do
cool, too.
yoga for.
Yeah. Well, on the positive, like, you can't draw more detailed than the actual pixels.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of older animation directors prefer if you use a emulator pencil at this stage, because they see it's as sort of a necessity. They see it as sort of a necessity to have that variation at this stage, because when you trace it again, it gets disinfected, if you will. Like some interesting parts of the shapes will disappear when you retrace something. Yeah, sometimes the filling can be a problem. Oh, you did one of those too? You do it in post? Or like we're thinking about using one of those for this short as well. A line filter. So it looks like, I don't know, Grand Blue Fantasy or Reconquista. It had like a pencil texture.
So with the Gosei, I can just outline the sections that are going to be Gosei.
Yeah, in red.
See if I can remember how to write the kanji. Can't remember how to write say. I'm gonna type it in here.
Not quite close. But...
Okay, close enough.
See ya, Nicholas. Thanks for coming by. Hey, good luck with your comic. Yeah, cast shadow and some grain. That's what I want to try experimenting with to give it, like they do it a little bit in Kill la Kill when the guy with the mohawk first shows up and he's in the bar. Like that bar scene has like still drop shadows and some grain, and it looks really cool. That'd be nice to try to reproduce.
Oh wow. I've been changing my swatch, like clicking different swatches this whole time. And I could have just been changing layers. It's amazing.
Yeah, Liku, that might be nice for like once we're done with the short. I kind of want to do a couple of videos on composite with like different variations. So like if we shot it like this show or like with different sort of effects and also using different software. So that might be cool. Composited as a 90s show or composited as a UFO table show or composited as something else. Bert's asking, has there been a movement to P? I'm using TV Paint. I think I'm switching over. I still know a lot of people that use TV Paint, but a couple of studios have started adapting Clip Studio as like part of their actual pipeline. So that's kind of become a little bit more common lately. But nothing wrong with continuing to use TV Paint, I think. Small things like in Dragon Maid, the outlines of the characters being slightly red, or Mob Psycho, they're green. Yeah, I'm hoping to do a lot of that kind of stuff. And these gradient light variations, because you can use color key to sort of add gradients selectively. Hi, Robbie. Yeah, that thing about stunting the movement to be 12 frames per second, that's one thing that I see in a lot of Western sort of anime style productions that they don't tend to do. So like you'll have slides for cells that are on like 24 frames per second or on ones. And it makes it look like, I don't know, too smooth from the stance of somebody that's used to watching anime. It's like one of the sort of uncanny differences that I see a lot of.
Okay, we're an hour in. I'm about done with 2 frames. Which I guess is good.
Yeah.
Good speed. But the second frame's a Gosei primarily, so.
Oh yeah, the red outlines are for parts that are supposed to be Gosei.
To add in the stuffed animal here.
I think Jared's probably just not updated. I know like the update's sleeker looking, but the fact that they don't have color on the icons anymore, so much to see everything quickly to me.
Color on the icons?
Yeah, like they updated the interface to have like it's just single gray outlines, like gray stencil icons, without like right now for yours, the new layer button is white, right? And so it draws your eye to it. It's easier to click. The new update, everything's just flat gray stencils.
Oh, weird.
I mean, it's stylish, sure, but yeah, it's something to get used to. Do you use any left-hand devices like Flip Studio TabMate?
My
Sure.
left hand's occupied by my pen. My pen.
Oh, okay.
And my right hand is on my keyboard.
I use like a mini Bluetooth keyboard, just because, like, I'd like to use a device, but I always want to be able to push all of the keys, and a normal keyboard doesn't really fit right next to the tablet, so I got one of those mini ones for tablets, like for Android tablets and stuff, and that works pretty well. Yeah, to the left control area. Same here. The other thing I did is I put the zoom and rotate controls on Control and Alt, so it's like TV Paint or Maya, sort of. Being around the canvas. That's kind of convenient.
Okay, time for shadows.
Okay. Control space or Alt space. Stretching and wrist exercises. I did stretching for a while, but I found exercises are a little bit better for like prevention as far as that goes. So I do like wrist curls and pull-ups or chin-ups. That helps a lot with endurance because I used to have tendonitis in both of my hands. But now I'm doing a lot better. Welcome back, Liku. Just same old, same old. He's just finishing up, I think, with the shadows on the second key. Did you already do the clog?
Yeah.
Jared?
Yeah. I'm keeping it from before because I think it's fine. It's not a character or anything, so I think it's good.
Same thing as the toothpaste. If you remember my trace on that, it wasn't so great.
Yeah. No one's looking at it. I mean, they'll look at it when it's vibrating, but then you can't see it anymore. Yeah, this looks way better. Instead of blush, it's gonna be highlight color. Does it even matter?
For the cheeks, you mean?
Yeah.
The blush will still be blush. It's just you use a darker shade. So just because it's in shadow, you can just fill it in with the normal skin color. Yeah. But yeah, if I recommend one exercise, it's wrist curl. That was the one thing, because I had a time when it was like painful to open a door. I couldn't do anything, and they had me on just like rest, ice, compression, elevation, and then stretching when it doesn't hurt. And that just makes atrophied muscles just like continue to atrophy. And so like even the smallest thing would cause more inflammation. And so finally, after I started putting on more muscle, it started actually being okay to do daily.
Sir Burbs a lot. Will was just talking about injury prevention for drawing long periods.
That's cool, Liku, as long as you know like where you're headed and stuff. And if you're still have getting into animation, you can always join up later once you're kind of up to speed on the other stuff. I thought it was the one I was already in.
If we make merch, we should make the giant carrot plushie be merch.
Sounds like a really expensive thing to make that nobody would buy.
Okay. I have to shade the next one.
How about neck and back? You do the standing this thing. Actually, I've never really had neck or back problems, strangely enough. Like, even for animators in Japan, they don't elevate their desk at all, so you draw hunched over. So even when I was doing analog, I didn't really have any issues with it. But nowadays I usually have my tablet up at like a 60-degree angle, so I can sit up as much as possible. Also, that's like one of the best things about using a normal graphics tablet without a screen, is that you can have really good posture.
Yeah, I'm sitting up straight right now. Well, I'm sitting up straight but slanted.
Yeah.
So I'm probably a little too loungy. Okay. A1, A2, A1, A2. And then there's gonna be a crazy amount of in between those. And it will make a breathing animation. And then for those of you that didn't see this, with the alarm I did something really simple. I basically just had it kind of vibrate around. Shake around back and forth in ones.
Yeah, I think that looks like a good amount of motion.
For the breathing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to taper
When I
it.
do the key check, I might check the face and see if it...
There's something you can do with it, or...
Yeah.
I'm just not confident
it might
enough
be
to do
better to
anything with
move. Yeah. I mean, it's safer to not do it, and it might be better ultimately. But, like, I'll double check it and stuff. Because sometimes you can move the face and get away with it. Because, like, if your chest expands and your chest is in the middle of your body, then
Yeah,
your
might
head
pull
would
your
sort
head.
of be raised up by the neck and drag slightly. So I might try adding a little bit of that on the corrections, but chances are, like, it's the more stuff you do like that, it's easier to mess it up. But I think that looks way better than the first take that you did, the first pass.
Yeah, I agree. Main thing I really need to be working on is getting my line confidence. My lines are pretty sketchy still.
Yeah. That's hard to break out of, I think. I'm just looking forward to being caught up with work and then doing croquis every day. It's gonna be so nice.
Yeah.
I'll do croquis and like a 1 hour short animation sketch thing for a while.
And then this notation here says the rest basically take from A1 Hokai A1 Gosei.
Gosei is basically just copy and paste, except you do the copy and pasting in the painting phase. So the Doga artist will split it up into two. The part that doesn't move and the part that moves. And then you paste the part that moves on top of the static part to make it into the final frame.
Okay, I think this one's
Guzu
done.
was at Comiket this year. I wanted to go so bad.
Who was there?
Guzu. The animator.
Oh yeah.
He had like, he made a custom animation like just for the book that he made to promote it. So good.
How long has this stream been going?
It says started streaming 2 hours ago, but I'm not sure
mine
exactly.
doesn't update. Okay, so yeah, I'm going super slow. But that's because I am inexperienced.
Read it. Is that how partial holds work? Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Yeah,
You can also.
I'm
go ahead.
lazy, so I just paste it in, but you can just outline it. You don't have to paste it in.
Partial hold is a little bit more universal. If you've separated it into an actual separate cell, that's also technically a partial hold. And then another type of a partial hold is gosei, in which you, within the same cell, split it into the static part and the non-static part, and then paste it together. And then if you have it as a separate cell, you have the static cell on the bottom and then the moving cell on the top, vice versa. And then you add that in composite together.
Okay. And then since the shading layers are saved as, or set as reference layers, they're not going to be saved on the export. This is going to be some weird little exports.
If you check the box for export drafting layers. They'll be exported. So actually, you should do that.
Oh, I need it? As
Yeah.
part of the JPEG? Okay. And folder name, export cut 1 Negan. File name, cell name. I've got my files, or my, on my timeline, my layers are labeled properly. My cells are labeled properly, so when I export, they're gonna come out right.
So the checkbox for drafting layers, and also you have the peg bar at the top, the peg holes.
Oh.
You also need that enabled.
Just the peg holes by itself, or the peg holes in the frame?
Just the peg holes. Everything after layout has just the holes, and then no frame. You might have to just cut them out of the original layout template. That's what I did on mine. Yeah, plus taxes on top is really painful. It's really confusing going through and trying to find something.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's in order. It's just there's so much stuff.
I mean, once you close all the folders, it's pretty clean.
Yeah.
Good. Though all of this needs to be in camera 1, but it really doesn't matter for this. Right, file save.
You need to have the frame invisible though. Yeah, there you
go. Ooh. I almost forgot to shade the alarm clock.
You can color code them based on what stage it's for. Oh yeah, we should totally. That would make it so much more easy to see. Color code like each folder.
Yeah.
It's nice using the template for the entire process because then we can go through afterwards. It's what seems like missing a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can upload that to use in the future, or for anybody else that wants to use.
It does make the files kind of get big, but
Yeah.
then I probably need to put WXP under that shadow, or around that shadow.
Oh yeah, technically you should label it. Your Clip Studio setup? Yeah, that'd be cool to see. Because I just started using Clip Studio like after summer, I think. And like this summer, I think I first started using it. I was on TV Paint before that, so I'm really just still learning everything. White background is fine for the export. Like it's okay if it's transparent as well. It's just for the most part they'll either be dropped into another person's animation software or printed out. So either way is okay.
I'm notating WXP here. This means that the shadow is going to be made transparent.
Yeah, so depending on the studio, they'll have you separate the shadow onto a different piece of paper, and then they can put that in composite on a different layer and lower the opacity on it a little bit. And there's other places that they put it on the exact same drawing, like everything all together, and then they use color keying to selectively lower the opacity of just that shadow. So it'll be like colored a sort of mask type color, like a neon green or something, or neon pink. And then they use color keying to sort of add or change it to a different color and then lower the opacity.
Right, now I can export.
Yep, looks good. Oh, you don't have a end mark though.
Can't export yet.
Sorry.
Just gotta find my animation in here. There it is.
Yeah, I'd say just jump straight into digital. There's no, like, unless you want, you can study the traditional stuff later on if you feel like it.
I think it's worth learning the processes. You don't have to go to actually. You don't have to gain skill with it, but like understanding the mechanics of it a little bit, like how peg bars work and how you can like manipulate peg bars and pulling animations off the pegs, and there's like things that you'll do in traditional that you can do in digital. But
yeah, the entire reason you're doing it in digital is to sort of emulate the traditional.
Yeah.
But as far as just like wanting to get started, I just jump into digital and start having fun with it. And then once you have the motivation from the fun that you're having, you can do those sort of harder to deal with things. Studying stuff.
Okay. Now we're good.
Now you're good.
Patient cells. Smart drafts. Cells. JPEGs. Entire canvas. Gotta put it in the right place. Which I have to access. I'm just gonna stick it on my desktop.
And then I think this third checkbox, export layers not in animation folders, is the other check that you have to put on. Because otherwise it won't export your peg bar template. Oh, you had already exported it because the stream was lagging. I said it too late.
Final for A1, final for A2, end. Go say it, and then we got folder B. We got all three of the little alarm clocks. We are 2/7 of the way done with with Negan for our 30-second animation.
It's pretty good progress for a day.
Yeah. Took me 4 hours to do 2 frames.
And I did 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the next cut, I'll be a little bit faster per frame.
Yeah. I'm thinking we might need to save the other stuff. Are you gonna do one now, or?
I'm gonna do another session, but I'll probably eat dinner first.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
maybe start
sleep
in 2 hours. Yeah.
And then
good.
And then after you're done with that, I guess I'll hop on and work on something else while you're sleeping, I guess.
Okay.
I think we got all the kinks worked out in our streams, so
yeah, should work okay.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us in stream. Hopefully you found it educational.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We will be doing more streaming over the next day or so, because we're trying to get all this done as fast as we can in as short amount of time as we can. So pay attention to our Twitters. We'll post on there when we go live. We'll also post here. I don't know how YouTube works. Maybe something about a bell. Maybe.
You're supposed to smash it, I heard.
Yeah, you're supposed to hit the bell, I think.
So I'll be back on in about 2 hours to continue with the next cut.
All right, thanks everybody. See you later.
Thank you.